So I just want to talk about a few areas in which I was able to distinguish for myself when I'm in the head versus when I'm in the heart. Again, I'm using this as a model, the verses. Ultimately, you need to bring both together and be able to know in what circumstance, which expertise is the most appropriate. But one will always support the other. Many of you were at my Sailing Through Conflict talk, and I talked about an excess of head versus an excess of heart. And I said that in law, we make a distinction in the crime of murder. Because if somebody murders someone and it is a totally head-centered act, then we call that a premeditated act. It was heartless, right? And on the other extreme, when we have a crime of passion where there was no thought, it was just a total reaction, then we call that a crime of passion. Too much heart. See, it's not that we're head bashing or favoring the heart, but just as a point of reference to get us thinking, I started to ask myself, well, so how do I know? I did Dr. Parasol's test, and you don't want to know my mark. Okay, and then I went, okay, but how do I know? So then I started to reflect on this, ask colleagues of mine, just talk to people, and started to observe. And I realized, for instance, a quality of the head that we all are familiar with is control. Control. Whereas a quality of the heart is connection. So I started to look at that. When I'm in my head predominantly, I tend to be into my controlaholism. Right? My controlaholic comes out. Okay? Whereas when I look into my heart and I ask myself, why am I being so controlling? Or why do I feel like I need to control a situation? Oftentimes it has to do with, especially when it involves other people, it's often because I'm seeking a connection with them. And I have bought into the lie that I have to control in order to connect. Okay? So I will go into all kinds of ways to try to control. In the business world, I always make the distinction in offices with the difference between motivation and inspiration, which are derivatives of this. Okay? People say, oh, are you going to come and motivate us? I said, no, I'm not interested in motivating you. I'm not a motivational speaker, right? Why? Because I tend to look at motivation like if it's my job to get up tomorrow morning and motivate my staff, well, half the time I'm pulling them. Come on, let's go. I'm going to motivate you. And then when I get tired doing that, the other half I'm pushing them. Come on, guys, I got to motivate you. It's my job, right? And how long does that last? Okay? Instead, if I shift out and I say, let me come from a place of inspiration in which I create a connection. And how do I create that connection? By being authentic. By modeling what it is that I'm asking you to do. By being very present in that activity. And when I do that, people automatically begin to respond. Now your head will go, well, and they'll come up with the one situation that never happened. See how the head will immediately go into, yeah, but. Okay? But I've seen great leaders. I've seen people who are able to inspire those around them into action. You've seen them on the world scene. They're icons out there. What did they do? Did they come out and push people and pull them and shame them? Judge them? Is that how they got a buy-in? Think about it. All the great names on the planet. It's because they inspired. They came from a heart-centered place.